All right. So this is what we did in our last class. Okay. This is what we did in our last class. And I said that smart contracts are composable. That means they have the ability to interact among themselves. Okay. Interact with each other. All right. And so that's what we want to play around with today. We want to see how smart contracts play around with each other. So this is smart contract we wrote last in our last class. We wrote two contracts. Okay, we wrote the simple storage and then we wrote get details. Okay, this is like a further example to make us understand what we're trying to do here using arrays and mappings and all that. Okay, so we want to use storage factory to deploy simple storage. All right, so one way we can do that, okay, the way one of the ways we can do that is through imports. All right, so we can we can come here, okay, we can come here and then write we can come here and write simple storage. Let's say write simple. Let's copy our guy here. Let's copy our guy here. We can come and copy our contracts. Okay, so we are working on with simple storage. So we'll copy simple storage. We'll copy, paste it here. Okay, so you know why I'm copying and paste it in Jiffy. So but let's copy and paste it here. All right, so we have our simple storage here. Okay, so we have two contracts here now. We have the simple storage and then we have the storage factory. Now we want to deploy simple storage using our storage factory. Okay, so we our can call our simple storage as done using it as a data type. Okay, so all right, so we we just create a contract. Okay, we created a contract here and then we created a new contract here called storage factory. And then we are saying simple storage public, and then we are using simple storage, this contract here, as a data type for this variable simple storage. Okay, so if I deploy this guy now, it's going to run all together. So if I come here, let's say I look for simple factory setting, storage factory, and I deploy. You see that I deployed a contract, okay, and simple storage. Now you see that I have deployed simple storage. Okay, I deploy simple storage, this contract using this contract all together. Okay, so that's way of deploying a contract from a contract. All right, so let's write a function and let's see how it plays with the function. So let's write a function and let's say create simple storage. It's done. All right, so we are creating here, so let's make sky public, and that's it. So let's say we have this simple storage, which all right, so
I think the other one is supposed to be a small letter.
yeah. So let's see. Okay, sorry. I think I made a mistake here. I'm supposed to call this guy. Right, simple. All right. So always be careful of your syntax. You put in trouble. Okay, so you see that we have another new guy here called the new keyword. So what is the new keyword? What does the new keyword do is that it it tells us that we are calling this contract which we are deploying in this contract, and say we are using this new to deploy this contract with this function. Okay, definitely we have called this contract here, and so we are using this new to deploy this contract. So we are saying that this guy that we have created here, this state variable that we've created here, is going to be deploying this guy, and is going to be giving us the address. So if we run deploy this guy again, okay, sorry, we are deploying the wrong contract. All right, answer your question, Yula.
Oh, good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yeah, good
Sorry,
evening. I can
please.
hear you.
I'm I'm trying to follow and get what you did, sir. This like I think is it that this contrast that you just created, is it like I can see it's like on the same page with storage factory dot so. Is it because you want to link it with storage with this thing? That's why you created it on this same page, or it's not in any way
Yeah,
affecting it?
yeah. That's it. The reason why we are able to work with this contract. Now look at very well, you guys understand that this contract is an autonomous contract, okay? And the reason why we can actually call this simple storage is because it's in the same location. That's one. Then secondly, we are using this, it's the same location. It's in the same location. Okay. So we are not inheriting this
Same
contract.
location in what sense?
You said what?
You said they're in same location in what aspect?
Okay, it's like when you snap two pictures and then they are saved in where? They are saved in your photo gallery, in your photo folder, in your gallery. So that photo folder is the same location for those two pictures. Okay, so you can copy a photo from your Zender folder and then put it in your photos location where your normal camera photos are saved, and that particular photo will not be in the same location. You understand? So, any other question?
Okay, so I'm still asking. Can I still?
talk now.
Okay, sorry. Um, if at this point, so it's still the same. So the name of this other contract is simple storage, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if we don't want to do it like this, we can import it, right? On another page.
Okay. So we are coming
Does
to that. We are
okay.
coming to that. So
Okay.
we are coming to that.
Okay, sir. So from now, going with your what you've written now, you have simple storage public. So we are making it another variable name, and we are
Yes.
creating a function
Yes.
now. But now your function, you have simple storage because why is the function? I thought it's reading from a global variable, whatever. Why don't we have view there first off? Because I would have thought of view first off.
View. There is no view here.
B wait oh. Should we say when it's reading from when we are reading
Now you are reading from another contract. Now look, this is where this contract starts. Okay. So you're asking from this contract. Okay, there's
yes
no
sir.
view in this contract.
Okay oh. Okay sir. So this new is creating this new simple storage is what was the functions I did not get that is because you are
All right.
still calling yes sir.
Okay, now drop your hand so that I will not think that you're asking question again. Okay, so what the new keyword does is that it it helps us to deploy the simple storage contract that is not in this storage factory. Okay, you guys understand that contracts are autonomous. I've said that before. Contracts are autonomous. It can either be deployed by another contract or be inherited by another contract, but they are autonomous. Understand? Unlike functions that are inside contracts. Okay, contracts are autonomous. Now, the reason why this contract is actually running, this storage factory is actually running and is deploying our storage factory is because we we called it inside the storage factory. All right. And one why it's also possible is because they are in the same location, the same file. All right. So we called it, okay, created a function, and then we use this new keyword to deploy it. So when we deploy this contract, sorry, I deployed the wrong contract again. So if you deploy this contract, you will see that create new simple storage. Now, this function, what this function does is that it deploys this contract. What this function does is that it deploys this contract. Now, if when we did not write, when we have not written this function, this guy was 0. That means there was no address here. I don't know if you can see it. There's no address here. Okay. So when we deploy our simple storage contract, you see have a contract address. Okay. We now have a contract address. If we deploy again, we have another contract address. If we deploy again, we have another contract address. So the more we deploy these contracts, the more we have contract, we have addresses for this contract. This contract generates address. Okay. And these addresses are addresses for the contract simple storage. Sure, we understand. I don't know if we get. Now, this particular contract is a standalone contract, but it's what the this contract does is to deploy this contract. Mind you, is not to inherit the contract, is to deploy this particular contract. Okay, is to deploy this particular contract. Now, you
So
you are going to find it more, excuse me, you're going to find it more useful when, let's say for example, you're writing a contract. They are already they already solved problems. Okay, you cannot write every contract. So what we'll do is that we get these contracts that have already been made, that is secure, and then we deploy it in our contract. Okay, we use it in our contract, so you can use other contracts in your contracts. All right, so now, if, let's say for example, you have so many contracts you want to work on and you are copying them and pasting them in one file, your work is going to be very messy. Like there's going to be a lot of codes on your page. So to make it readable and easy to access, because let's say for example, you 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 are using like three in your contract. That means you have to go and copy the contract and paste it here, like three of them that is as long as this. Okay, so it's going to be very, very long. So for you to avoid that, we are going to be removing this guy. So instead of us to copy and paste it here, we are going to import it.
Sai is not speaking, right? Oh, yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, sir. Not yet.
Oh, when did you hear last? What was the
Why,
last thing you heard?
I don't know, my network was poor, so I just came in now.
sir, were you talking
Okay,
before?
I've been talking since. Oh. All right,
Jesus.
let me go back. Let me go back to what I was saying. I said that. Do you understand? Do you understand this import? This name import. Let me see your hand. Okay, very well. So that was what I to consider ourselves. And then let me check if I'm still talking. Okay, I'm still talking. Okay, now we observe that when we deploy this contract, we'll see it giving us different addresses, and we can't keep track of these addresses. Okay, now remember how we have been keeping tracks of our stores of our datas using arrays. Okay, so we are going to be using. Okay, so we'll turn these into an
So we are going to
array.
be using.
I didn't get you. Say what?
You said we are going to be using what?
I said we're going to be using array to store these addresses that we are generating, these contract addresses that we are generating. Okay. Yes, Bila, you have question.
So I'm very sorry I'm asking a lot of questions. But don't wax. I understand you're creating an address, but I'm not that sure. Is it the storage functions, the other function that is creating this address? Or
Yes, it's the
okay.
storage function, the storage, simple storage that's creating the addresses.
Okay, so it keeps changing once we click on it, and or like there's a function for it to keep changing or
Yes,
something.
yes. Once you deploy the contract, once you deploy the contract, it creates a contract address. Whenever you deploy the contract, it creates a contract address.
Okay,
Every
sir. Thank
contract
you
has
very
its
much.
own. Yes. Okay. So how do we keep track of these? Excuse me. How do we keep track of these contract addresses? Okay. How do we keep track of these addresses? So I'm going to be using array. Okay. So I'm going to be using array to keep track of these addresses so that when we go back and say which one is the first one we did, second one we did, or what the index by their index, we can just say, okay, this is the address for this is the address for that. Okay, so we know where to put the stuff here. I'm going to put it here. All right, so we're going to change the name of this guy. We're going to change it to um last time we used. Did you created an array here? Yeah, we call this one list of people. So let's call this one list of simple storage contracts. So let's call this one. All right. Okay, so we have our array. So let's create a function, and then okay, we have a function. Let's just say this guy. Okay, so let's just edit this guy and the same way we did here. We created an array and then we came here and added, we pushed our function into the array, you understand? All right, so we want to push these addresses into the array as well. Okay, so this contrast simple storage has become our data type, you understand, because that's what we are deploying. Okay, all right, so what are we doing here? We created a new variable or simple storage data type, and then we are saying that this guy is going to be the new state of our simple storage. Okay, this guy is going to, this is how we're going to get our new simple storage contract, and then we're going to be pushing this new variable created inside our list of simple storage. So we know how we do our thing now. Simple list of the push, and then what are we pushing? We are pushing new simple storage. All right, so we have
So
successfully
everybody seems confused. Oh.
don't worry, I'll come back. That's how we have always been confused, and we do get it at the end of the day.
So
I'll come back. Okay, so what have I done so far? All right, let me. Where did you understand last? What was the last thing you understand? You understand when I created an array? Yeah, you understand this line?
yes, yes.
Okay, you understand this line. I understood how we created this function. I'll call it create simple storage. Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you understand this line of code here? This one here, the first line of code.
No, sir.
Okay, this guy. Remember what we did here in our simple storage where we created a function to add people to our array. And then we said that list of people dot push, and then we pushed in our inputs. Okay, all together, and then we push in our inputs all together. So
Yes,
what we
Yes,
sir.
did
sir.
here, good. So what we did here is that we created a new variable. So let's say we created something like uint 256, and we'll call it, let's say, Timo, and we said Timo is equal to, sorry, and then we said Timo is equal to new simple storage. Now, this is not what it is, but I'm just explaining it to us, okay? What is this one? All right. So we created a new variable, and I will say that this guy, this simple storage, this contract. Now, this simple storage, this guy represents the whole of this guy here. This simple storage here, let me comment it out. Now, this simple storage here represents the whole of this contract.
So please, can you highlight the one you're talking about?
All right, wait to listen to me. This simple storage bracket, comma, this simple storage bracket represents the whole of this contract. Now, when we say that this new simple storage is saying that, okay, we are bringing this guy here, we are using this guy here, this contract here, okay, and so we are saving this contract, this simple storage contract inside new simple storage contracts. And we said that this new simple storage contract is from simple storage. It's a data type of like it's a type, it's a data of a type simple storage. That means it carries the characteristics of simple storage. And so having pushed everything into simple storage, new simple storage contracts, we carried that new simple storage contract and pushed into our array. Okay, that's what we did here. But you should be very conversant with this line of this push line of code, like pushing data into an array. All right, so I think the only place where you will have a little challenge is this first line in this function, which is where you say that this new variable is equal to simple storage.
Somebody
All
said
right, so
almost.
it's not difficult. Okay, it's not difficult. When you go back home and then you look at it again, when you go back home, do you know how many examples we did for us to graphs, um struct and mapping, constructors and the rest? Okay, you don't have to understand it in your first graphs, but just try and memorize everything, you understand, so that when we're doing another example, it will sync. Okay, all right, so let's get what we've created so far. So we created an array.
Sir, sorry, I want to ask something.
Please do.
So like this, after the function line, the next line, the simple storage is the data type, right?
Yeah, we are using our simple storage, which is the contract as a data type.
Okay, then the new simple storage contract, that is, it's saying we are using this simple storage inside storage factory.
Yes.
They were pushing it into like a
New
new file or something into new simple storage.
contract, yes.
They were now pushing this new file into an array so it can be able to store the data.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's deploy this guy. All right, sorry. So let's deploy this guy, and we've got All right. So if I deploy, I get a contract address. If I deploy again, you see that there's a green checker. That means there's a transaction going on. This is by the index. This is by their index. I got the second one. If I put two, I got the third one. If I put three, I got the fourth one. Now, if I put four, I get nothing. Why? Because I only deployed five contracts. Okay. I only deployed it 5 times. All right. So if I deploy it again and come and deploy four, you see I have the contract address. If I go back to one, sorry, yes, the first one, you see that it will come back again. So all these guys are storing in the array. So we can always go back and bring them back using the index. So that's okay. So what we are only doing here is deploying the simple storage contract. Now you see that we are not doing anything more than than just deploying simple storage contracts. Okay, and then tracking the addresses of the deployment all together. All together.
Together. Yeah, together.
All right. Okay, so what if we excuse me. So what if we store numbers? Okay. So what is to store numbers in uh simple storage? Okay. Lord, what if we use our simple storage to store numbers as well? Remember I told us that we can deploy a contract, we can use that contract to deployed to do something. Okay. So we want to use the simple storage to do something. Remember what the simple storage does is to store numbers. Okay. Store numbers. Remember this guy here, this function store. So it's a store numbers, can store number, it can retrieve number, and it can store names and favorite number, even the age of people, and can retrieve it. Okay. So this contract can do two things, can just store numbers and retrieve it, and it can be detailed with the storage and it can still retrieve it. So we want to use the store function of this guy to play around. All right, so let's play. Let's see how that one goes. All right, so let's create a function and let's call this guy um simple a storage factory store. All right, so let's call this guy storage factory store. Okay, so it's going to get two inputs. Going to get index and index. Let's call it simple storage index, and then um simple storage number. Simple storage. Oh, let me make it. Let me say sorry. It's supposed to be simple storage number. Oh, I should call it. I should call it new simple storage number. Okay, so this is an input. So we'll just make this guy public, and then all right, I'm coming now. Okay, what's the question?
So what are we doing now? We did not put in your new simple storage.
Oh,
You did not put
okay.
any.
I think you're not hearing me.
Okay.
Okay, I said that we've deployed a contract. Now we want to make use of this contract we've deployed. We want to take advantage of this contract we have deployed and use what the contract can do to do something in this contract. Okay. I told us that this contract, this store, simple storage can do
Oh,
three things. Okay,
I
two
was hearing
primary
you, sir.
functions.
I heard that, sir. I got that point.
Okay,
Like I'm seeing you in your this thing over this just simple storage. There is no this thing. There is
I didn't
no
get you.
data type. There is no data type in front of your new simple storage. Is that fine?
I didn't get you. Sorry.
In your function, like the part you put into it, like there's no data type in front of new simple storage number. That's fine.
Okay, your network is very bad, so I
Okay.
think I can't hear you. If
He
anybody
said
can hear, just
he said that
question.
new simple storage number does not have a data type. That is that fine?
Okay, I think the problem is for me because I'm not hearing you at all.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
She said new simple storage number does not have a data type.
Okay, yes, that's because I forgot to put it. All right, so remember that our data type here, primary data type here is what is our contract. So we are using things from our contract. So we are going to be using it as our primary data type. So when we are creating um a local variable, we are going to be using the contract name of the contract we are deploying as our data type. Okay, so this guy is going to be storage. Okay, simple storage, sorry. All right, so I'm going to call this my simple storage. All right, so I'm still going to push this guy inside our array.
Am I the one that is not hearing him?
Is network.
Is that initially we use create simple storage to deploy the contract. Now we want to attach numbers and indexes to this contract, indexes in this contract, so that after we deploy our contract, we can get stored in the contract. So we want to store some numbers in the contracts that we have deployed. Okay, and then retrieve these numbers. That's why I said initially that we deploy the contract and then we use these contracts to play one or two. So the play is that we want to store numbers in these contracts that we deploy and then retrieve these numbers back. Okay, now remember that we've not created anything here. All we are doing is that we are using the properties of the contracts that we imported here. Okay, now if you understand this simple logic, is going to help us. It's the same logic when you are writing complicated contracts, okay, like DeFi and the rest of it. So it applies, still applies. All right. Although there might be one or two little changes, one or two little hacks, but the principle applies. The principle applies. All right. So create this guy and then we put it in an index, and this index, this input. Sorry, don't cry. Just follow. It's not difficult. Okay. It's not difficult.
Text is
It's not difficult. It's not as difficult as you think. So our new simple, okay, we're going to be using our whole storage index. Let me use this one as small letter so that I don't confuse myself. All right, simple storage index. So I haven't said that. We can say that storage the store. That means calling the store function from our contract. Okay, so what's the rubbish I just did? Okay, what's this rubbish I just did? So what I'm trying to do here is that, or what I've done here is that, okay, so what I've done here is that I have I've created my simple storage the same way I created my simple storage contract here. I created it here. They say nothing changed here. The same thing that happened here is almost the same thing that happened here. Just that we are calling our index, our simple index, the inputs that we are getting here. That's what we are getting here. And then we are saying that this guy is going to be inside our array. You understand? So you notice something very funny here, that we are not pushing anything. We are just calling, we are just saying that the reason why we're not pushing anything is because simple storage is already inside an array. So what we do is that we are saying that this guy is going to be stored inside an array already. Whatever input you are putting here is inside the array already. So what we're saying that this input is inside this list of simple contracts. Okay. And then this simple storage using the index, which is an array form, to get our simple storage number. So if I store this guy, if I deploy this guy, okay, let me have an output so that you can see what I've done there. All right, output. Let me call this one SF gets. This one was SF store, so this one will be SF gets. Okay. Um, simple storage index. Okay, so this is gonna be public view. It's gonna return. We're gonna return. It's going to return the number that we are getting. All right, so we are using this index to get our number. So it's going to return you 256. Unit and unit 256, they're the same. So Okay, so I'm going to say that simple storage is my simple storage, which is equal to list of simple storage contracts. Right, and so we say return. Okay, so let me see. I got it wrong. What's the problem? What's the problem? Why is everybody crying? Hmm?
Mr. Samuel, help us.
I'm trying. Okay, so okay, so let me do it this way. Let me do it this way. Hmm. Okay. Um. All right, and do it this way. Okay. All right. All together, I was trying to solve my own problems. So all together,
Yes, sir. Everybody are saying they are not
what?
together.
Why is the thumb down? Why is the thumb down?
We're on high tension. Help
Okay.
us.
Should should calm down. Should calm down. All right. So let's take this thing one step at a time. What I will I will I will admonish us to go back and look at these codes. I believe some of us are using pen and paper to write this code down. If you are, God bless you. Go back and look at this code. Look at this code again. All right, look at this code again. Look at this code again.
Is it
Now
assignment?
let me explain. It's not an assignment. Let me explain. Let me explain what I've done so far. So what has this code done? This code has, let me deploy it so that we'll see how it's working. So what this code does is that first of all is to deploy the contract. Okay, to deploy the contract, and then we can get our contract address. All right, and then we can store values here. So we can store indices and values. 20. All right, so that when I call, when I put in the index, I get the value. Okay, this one did not run. No store it, so I call the index. When I call the index, I get the value. All right, so the reason why I could do this is because this guy has a store function and a get function. All right, so it is a store function and a get function that I'm using here. All right, so I'm retrieving the information that is stored here, and then I'm bringing it out. So when I deploy, I can actually release 1,5, so that when I put 1, it's going to give me 5. If I put 3, 10, if I store it, if I put 3, sorry, if I put 2. All right, sorry. The index is supposed to go accordingly. If I put 2, I get 10. Sorry, let me smart. All right. So if I did not deploy the contract, now notice something. Let me clear this guy. Let me deploy again. Let me show you something. Or let's make sure you are deploying the real contract storage factory. Now if I put 0, 1 here, now you see that this guy is not going to work. If I store a number here, it's not going to work. Why? Because I've not deployed the contract. Now, if you see that I tried to save a number and it gave me this guy, that did not work. Why? Because I've not deployed the contract. So whatever is done inside that place is not going to work. All right. Deploy this guy. Yes, then I can now store the number and I can now put in whatever I want to put in and get the number. Okay. But if I did not contract, it's not going to work at all. All right. If I deploy the contract, it's not going to work. So every index, every time I want to store, I'm allowed to store one number, one index per contract address. Okay, so if I don't deploy again, I can't get it. So let's say I put in 0 here, I'll get it, and This one will give me 1. All right. If I put 1 here, I'll get the address, and this one will give me 0. So that is it. Altogether, altogether. So what the contract does is to deploy a simple storage smart contract, and then store numbers to that contract using, and we can retrieve those numbers using their index. So we'll store those numbers and their index in that contract, and we use our index to retrieve it from the array. So that's what this contract does. Let me explain again from syntax to syntax. But if you still don't get it,
Maneka, please
don't
mute your
worry
mic.
yourself. Okay. If you still don't get it, don't worry about it. Don't be scared. You are not obligated to get the everything today. You understand? You're not obligated to get everything today. All right. So in our next class, I'm still going to revisit it. I'm going to use another example, do it so that explain it more better so that we can get it. Okay. My next class, I'm going to us inheritance. Our time is fast spent already. Sorry for the 30 minutes issue I have with my system. Sorry about that. I really ate our time. Today I really wanted to talk about um inheritance as well. But notwithstanding, next class I will revisit this again. I will do it again, like I will do it again, and then I will I'll talk about inheritance. Although we have talked about inheritance before, we have mentioned inheritance before, but I'll use an example
So
and
what's
talk
today's
about
topic?
inheritance. It's still simple storage, mini project. Okay.
I didn't hear you.
No kill. Oh.
I said simple storage mini project. Simple storage mini project. Is there on your syllabus? Go to your syllabus, you'll see it. Simple storage. All right.
Devnis,
So,
Devnis.
okay, calm down.
So
Calm
good
down,
evening, sir.
everybody. Like I said, it's like nobody's listening to me. Everybody is just so pained. Listen to me. Leave your emotions, leave your how pain are you, and listen to me. How confused are you? Are listen to me. Okay, I've said it. You are not obliged to get everything in one class. Excuse me. You're not obliged to get everything in one class. Okay, but what I will tell you in this class, please do, is going to help us. Go back and look at the code again. Okay, go back and look at the code. Try and code along. Okay, if you want to write it to the piece of paper, write it. If you want to copy it, just code along. Okay, master the syntax, and then try to, okay, what is this keyword, what is the keyword, what's the new keyword, what is this, just go and play with it. Okay, you don't have to understand it, just memorize it. In our next class, yes, I see your hands.
Can I go ahead or I should
Yeah,
wait
yeah, go
till you're
ahead,
done?
go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know. When you were explaining, actually, I wasn't on the course, so I don't know what you had told them because my network was a bit poor, was actually poor. So I don't know, can I quickly ask something? Like to an extent I get a bit of this, but I want to ask something, just one or two.
Okay, ans one or
And I
two.
think so. Understand your simple storage is like the data type, like you said, my storage is the variable name that you're passing list of sample. So what I don't get now is this the index part now. We have two things that we are returning here, like about two things that we are pushing into list of simple storage. So this simple storage index here, we are pushing that in, right? Now this other simple storage number, you came to you put you're putting it in this order, my simple storage, and I think that my simple storage is a new variable now or something, the store. And the store is it function, or like is it function, I'll call it, or something in solidity that just stores. Okay, I think I'm getting you now. The store is from the former function or something, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, I get that. So just kindly help me explain these parts of the simple storage index and my simple
Okay.
storage, and like
All
that
right.
from
So
that part to this question.
okay. So this my simple storage. Let me use sentence to say that this my simple storage. We are saying that this index here is stored in my simple storage, and this index here is stored in my simple storage, but it's stored in my simple storage as an array. It's an array format. If you see that the difference, the way this guy is stored in my simple storage is different from the way my simple number, my new simple storage number is stored in my simple storage. Why? Because of the format. All right, so we are saying that this guy is an index which works with the array directly, and we are saying that this array, this index fetches out this number stored in my simple storage. Okay, and this guy is linked with the contract that has been deployed. So if the contract is not deployed, this guys doesn't work. We know that already. But understand that this list of my simple storage, we are calling this guy, this array here. Okay. And we are saying that this array here is this guy. Understand? Whenever we put in this guy, it's stored in the array. When you save this number, it's stored in the array. And so when you want to get this guy, you get it through the index altogether. Altogether. So this guy is the type. Simple storage is the type because that's the contract we're using. That's why we said this new variable we created here is having this type, which is getting it just like the way we have structs, and we created structs, and we gave the struct a name, and we said that once gave we give struct that a variable that struct data type, it carries the characteristics of the struct. All right, that's what we learned in struct. That same thing applies here. Once you use the contract as a type to a variable, that variable inhabits the characteristics of the contract. That's the reason why we could store, and that's the reason why we could retrieve, because of the data type we are using. And the data type is our contract. We're using our contract as a type. All right. Okay, so we saved this guy here. We saved this index as an array, but we save this guy, we store our number in the contract. And so whenever we impute our index, it fetches us the number it's saved with. Okay, it fetches us the number it's saved with. let's assume that we didn't just have array, sorry, number, we have age here as well. Okay, so if we we want to do that the same thing, we have to now add the age to this store, so that when we put in our index, it gets us our new simple storage number, and then our new simple storage age. We fetch it using this index because everything is stored in the array. The reason why it could be fetched is because the whole information is stored in the array. Understand? It's tied to the contract address. That is why if the contract does not run, it 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 won't work. The store will not work. The retrieve will not work. Nothing of such will work. Understand? All these things I've said, just go back and look at the video again. Okay, go back, look at the video again, play with the code, and I still not say that you understand. But in our next class, when we revisit it again, it will to be clear. Yes, Chidera,
Sir, please, what's today's topic?
I have said it now. It's simple storage mini project, simple storage, simple storage, simple storage, simple storage, simple storage.
Okay.
All right. Any other question? Yes. Any other question? Okay. In the absence of no question, okay, we'll call it a night. But please, I'll beg you to help me. You do me a favor. You please go back to this code. Okay. Go back to simple storage. All right. Go back to storage factory. All right. And then see how to play with it. Okay. Write the code in your paper, write the code in your notepad. All right. Write the code, memorize the code. Understand? Even if you don't understand, but just try and memorize the code. The more you write and rewrite the code, you start, as long as you understand everything we have been teaching before now, it will start making sense for us. All right. It start making sense for us. All right. Thank you too. Okay. So let's call it a night. Yeah. Do have a good night rest. Oh, now I'm seeing all your messages. Oh yeah. Cry everywhere. Just let me end this recording for